Welcome to my top 10 list for my favorite movies of 2014. And not just any kind of movies, but horror movies. But first off, we have an honorable mention. Oculus. Pretty interesting little horror film. But me being more of a B-movie guy, let's get down to the grubby stuff. But still give Oculus a watch, I highly recommend it. Number 10 is Wolf Creek 2. What a badass film with such a badass killer. I love the first Wolf Creek. I thought it had great pacing and really disturbing moments. But Wolf Creek 2 is a million times better. It has everything the first Wolf Creek had on steroids, with mindless action thrown in for good measure. However, I don't see this having a high replay value, but it's still one kick-ass movie. Number 9 is a film that a lot of people seem to dislike, but not as much as one of the other films released by the same company this year, but I'll get to that one soon. But number 9 is See No Evil 2. See No Evil 2 is actually a really well-shot, well-directed, well-acted sequel that had a lot of missed opportunity with gore and creative deaths. There is some blood, but there wasn't as much as I was expecting. I think even the first one was gorier than this one, and the first one wasn't that gory at all. Number 8 is Joyride 3, Roadkill. Dude, Ken Kirzinger portrays Rusty Nail as the best evil villain I've seen in any of the Joyride films, because Ken Kirzinger does Rusty Nail so well. He knows how to make him evil. And it's actually a really gory horror film too. It's the goriest out of any of the Joyride films, I believe, and it's just a really well done sequel. Number 7 is Leprechaun Origins. Now hear me out. The film has great characters, great settings, great lighting, great camera work, great gore effects, great gore, and I enjoyed the Leprechaun's appearance. Years before this film was set to be released, they were talking about making a darker version of Leprechaun with a creature-like appearance, and everyone was for it. They were like, yeah, make a darker, gorier, grittier Leprechaun movie. But then they found out there was no Warwick Davis. Everyone got pissed. Who cares if it's a different kind of Leprechaun that isn't talking and it looks more like Pumpkinhead in some ways? Dude, it's a remake. Let it be a remake. Or it's a prequel, depending on how you look at it. Number 6 is Embedded, a Bigfoot film with bite. And no one seems to know about this film. It's like, what? You're talking about Embedded? What's Embedded? I don't know what Embedded is. Dude, this film is awesome. It needs to be more recognized. At least I think so. Number 5 is The Purge Anarchy. Such a fun blast of a film. The sets, the scenarios, the gore, it's all awesome. It's much better than the first film, which I do really like as well. But dude, this film just kicks major ass. Number 4 is Exists. What an awesome Bigfoot movie. This is like the pinnacle of found footage Bigfoot movies. It shows you what a Bigfoot is like when it's pissed. It shows you what people are like when they're afraid of a pissed off Bigfoot. It's from the director of the Blair Witch Project, but don't be expecting Willow Creek. Be expecting a film more in the vein of Night of the Demon and Abominable. It is that pissed off. And unlike not seeing the witch in the Blair Witch Project, you see tons of Bigfoot in this film, and he looks awesome! Number 3 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or as I like to call it, Dot Pota. Anyways, this film is really well done, really well shot, has great character development, and great CGI, and I kind of enjoy the plot, but it's quite forgettable at the same time. It's a really well done sequel, and I highly recommend it. Number 2, now this was a really hard one for me to choose. I love both films for number 2 and number 1, but I just had to put this one at number 2, and that is Godzilla. Such an awesome film, with so many awesome scenes. It is really well done, has lots of great characters that are sometimes bland, sometimes enjoyable, but most of the time bland. But I still really recommend this movie. It is so big and grand, and it's just awesome. But all the oohs and ahs do not amount to the number of laughs I had for the number 1 movie on my list. Number 1 is Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. I just saw this recently, and it was like, Shaun of the Dead is not as good. I love Shaun of the Dead. I love Zombieland. I love all these zombie comedies that are good. But Dead Snow 2 is just freaking awesome. I couldn't believe what I was watching half the time because I was like, this is just too perfect. So yeah, it's number 1 on my list. Alright, that does it. That is my top 10 best horror films of 2014 list. Now make sure to check in soon for my top 5 worst horror films of 2014 list, coming out, as I said before, soon. I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Movie Reviews. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below, and to leave comments and subscribe, and have a happy new year.